What is going on, YouTube people? Neocards of Comics here today to talk a little Ja Morant. Oh boy. After I recorded the weekly sports card market update, obviously the next morning, the Ja story broke overnight Saturday into Sunday, so I really haven't had a chance to kind of chit-chat about this yet. Boy, oh boy. What an idiot. Plain and simple, what an idiot. Nothing that he did was illegal. Let's be clear there. He was perfectly within the bounds of the law for what he did. I believe he was in the state of Georgia, which I believe is an open carry state. But on the common sense factor and the idiot factor, not smart decisions. He is probably going to get a lengthy suspension from the NBA. I would have to imagine. There's been rumors circulating that it's going to be around half the season, or at least a decent chunk of the season. We'll see what happens with that. Card price wise, it is panic sell season. And the buyers and the sellers are both out. For full disclosure purposes, I currently own I probably own more than two, but two slabbed, or I shouldn't even say slabbed, two valuable Ja Morant cards. Everything else I have moved off of over the last couple of years. I have a PSA 10 Choice Optic from 2019, his rookie year. I think that card prior to this went for around $200. I bought it years ago. I paid way more than that for it. I was already massively underwater on it. But I always really liked that card, so I hung on to it. Of my non-auto Ja stuff, I always hung on to that one because I liked the way that the card looked. I'm a sucker for Choice Optic. The second one was the Contenders Optic Red out of 149 rookie auto sealed Panini case. That's a card that almost have more sentimental value than anything. That's the one that I pulled the redemption on out of a Hoops Premium hobby box 3 years ago now, I think. The video is on the channel 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And sent the redemption in. It never got redeemed. And a year later, I emailed them and they said, we could send you a Ja rookie auto. And I said, okay. And they sent me a Contenders on-card red. At one point in time, that card sold for $2,000 to $3,000. Last recorded comp is between 800 and 1,000. I think the last raw did 1,000 about a month ago. What that card goes for today, I don't know. But where I'm going with all this is, for the hell of it, and honestly, I just don't know that I want to deal with it anymore. I put both of them on eBay last night. I put the Choice up, and I put the Contenders Auto up. I think I put the Choice up at $225 best offer. And I put the Choice Auto up at 1,000 best offer just to kind of see what would happen. And blood is in the waters. I got, specifically on the Contenders Auto, I got more offers on that card in like a 3-hour period than any other card I've posted on eBay in the history of my life. My phone was going off constantly. I think I got like 10 to 15 offers sent on that card in the course of like an hour and a half last night. I didn't accept any of them. Most of them, to be fair, were pretty bad. Like $100 offers, $200 offers. The number that I got the most was $500. I countered all those. I haven't really heard anything back. If you're interested, slide into the old DMs. I am looking to move both those cards. And is it a bad time to sell this stuff? Yep, probably. Do I care? Nope. I just don't feel like dealing with it anymore. I'd rather have the few $100s to take, and like I kind of talked about in last week's video, I would just rather have the money to spend on other stuff. I don't feel like riding this roller coaster. Because here's essentially what's going to happen. He's probably going to get suspended. His prices might drop again. Then they'll slowly probably start to level out, and eventually they may rebound. Like I said at the beginning, technically, he has not done anything illegal. So it's not like there's that aspect of it. This isn't even like a Fernando Tatis situation where he took steroids or something like that. 10 out of 10 on the idiot factor. So if he truly wants to get his stuff back together, when I say his stuff, his life back together, he could rebound, do everything correctly, and be back on the court at like the All-Star break next year or Christmas time or first of the year and have a hell of a season, and his prices would rebound a little bit. Who knows? Once again, that's glass half full. There's also a glass half empty version of this where things go even more sideways. He has more screw ups and things just keep spiraling out of control. But if you're willing to hold long, there's probably a worthy gamble to take. If you're willing. Once again, frankly, I just don't want to deal with it anymore. That's my perspective. I'd be curious in the comments down below if you currently own Ja Morant stuff, especially anything higher end, like more than a few hundred, like anything more than $500, let's say. What is your plan of attack? Or are you just tucking it in the safe and saying, all right, I'll look at what you're selling for in like a year, forget about it? Or are you saying, you know what, just cash me out. I don't care. I'd rather just have the money. I'll let someone else make the profit on it and deal with the ramifications of it and the risk of having his cards. So that's where I'm at. I'm actively selling the last two that I have. Luckily, the only other one I had prior to that was back in the last Ship Shawana show. I traded an Optic Purple and some other stuff. And I'm sure I have some like $3, $5 cards in his laying around, but actual valuable stuff. But how are you all handling it? What are you doing? Like I said, I'm not going to, this isn't a run out and buy the dip video or anything crazy like that. That's not really the type of content we make around here anymore. But there is a path that it could go up. I just don't want the headaches. I don't want the headaches. I don't want to deal with it. But like I said, I am curious what you all are doing. Let's look at some real world prices as things kind of start to come in. I am recording this on May 15th in the early evening. It is about 7 p.m. East Coast time. So there's still only really been like a full day and not even really just over a full day of activity. So we really haven't seen how big of a drop he's going to have yet. That'll probably be more reflected in like this weekend's video when we do the weekly market update. But I just kind of wanted to review a couple things and kind of see where we currently sit. Right now, his PSA 10 silver last recorded sale was $496. That was on the 13th, so that was prior to everything going off haywire. Now, there's one ending about an hour and 40 minutes from now, from the time I am recording this video. So by the time you all see this, that auction would have ended. It currently sits at $430. Now, I haven't looked at the listing to see if it's getting shilled or anything crazy like that. I'll wait for it to end and then do that. But I have to imagine it comes in under this $500 mark, maybe $450, $475, and then we'll kind of see how it goes from there. A lot of his inventory is hitting the market right now. I will say, typically, when stuff like this happens, when there is a major event, Acuna tearing his ACL, Tatis, some of the best times to sneak in with deals are that first 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes that's the low point. The only concern or worry here is if he ends up getting a lengthy suspension afterwards, does his stuff take a hit again? I don't know if everyone's baking that in or not. Don't know. But currently right now, his PSA 10 silver is going for, let's just call it a little under $500, and we'll see where things shake out at. I have to imagine it ends up creeping closer to $450, maybe even $400 by the time this is all said and done. The PSA 9 sits at $130. Just for the hell of it, I pulled up the lifetime charts of this card. So as of today, the lowest that this card has ever sold for is today's prices. Even here where it quickly dipped after coming out was in the $950 range. And we are obviously well below that, and we will see how low that she gets. The peak of this card, the highest recorded sale ever, right here, December 2020, 5.36K. 4 sales in and around that price. That's what it ended up averaging out to be. That is absolutely wild with a high sale of 6K. Yikes. The average over the lifetime of this card was 1.78K. So a majority of people are taking an absolute bath on this card in a PSA 10. Whew. Ugly, ugly, ugly. Let's talk about 2019. Now, here's the one that's currently running at auction. You can see ends here in a little bit. The vaunted 2019 class. Let's look at this one first. Zion is now in number 1 again. I guess another key question I would have for you. If I gave you $500 today and I said, pick one and you have to hold it for 5 years, are you taking the Zion Silver PSA 10 or the Ja Silver PSA 10? That's a tricky one, in my opinion. Zion could easily miss half the season next year with an injury. Ja can miss half the season next year because of being an idiot. And then beyond that, who knows? Like I said, I think Ja has a potential cleaner path to bouncing back versus Zion where it's injuries. You know, one's his body going, one's his mind going. So I don't know. Regardless, the once vaunted top of that class of Zion and Ja have gotten absolutely eviscerated. Below that, third place in that class, which this is wild that his stuff sells for this much. This is actually, in my opinion, straight idiotic. There is no way, and let me put my Homer cap on, there is no way Jordan Poole should sell for more than Darius Garland. Jordan Poole, not that good of a player. Darius Garland, actually a good NBA player. So Jordan Poole is third at $200. And maybe that's just a bad sale. I don't know. I noticed there's a big jump up there. So maybe it's just one off that was a rogue one. I didn't look at the chart. Maybe it is closer to $100, but there is no way that gap should be that large. We have Darius Garland at 120. Then it drops to Tyler Hero, Keldon Johnson, RJ Barrett. Very rough playoffs for him. Rui at 55. The legendary hobby legend, Bull, Kobe White, DeAndre Hunter, hobby legend, Kevin Porter Jr., Cam Reddish, Carson Edwards, Cam Johnson, 1750, Jackson Hayes, another hobby legend, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and then Brandon Clark rounds out this list of 20 cards. I could go deeper if we really want, but look how cheap these get. Silver Prism PSA 10s, 10 $20 bills. Yikes. Yikes. So the 2019 class not looking quite as hot as it used to. What do sealed products go for? Let's pop over and look at this. Of the recent Prism years, the number 1 slot is still retained by 2018 Prism. No surprise there. Luka, Trey, SGA, among others. Second place, and this is a recent change. 2019 used to be in second place. It has since dropped. And once again, wax moves a little bit slower. We haven't seen any real price adjustment on sealed wax yet when it comes to Prism with this news specifically. 2017 now in the second slot at 1.2K. That, compared to some of these other ones, actually still feels like a bargain. I think I commented on that before, that 2017 basketball wax actually seems fairly reasonably priced, given 2017 had a lot lower print runs, and you have Tatum, Mitchell, and Fox all in that class, along with a few other guys. Bam Adebayo's in that class. But just Tatum being on top, especially after what he just did in Game 7. Then we have 2021 in fourth place at 1K. 2020, that is LaMelo and Ant Edwards at $900. And then a big drop off to 2022 with Paolo and the bunch at $500 for a hobby box of Prism. Now, wax is a little bit of a weird thing. The contents of the box and what you can pull don't always correlate with exactly how much that they sell for because of the scarce nature. There's always less of them. The experience factor. I mean, obviously it'll juice the price one way or the other, but usually the math does not make sense when this product starts to age like this because of the amount of boxes on the open market get less every time one is opened up. So it just becomes more scarce naturally. It just takes a while sometimes. You got to have sealed wax is all about patience in a lot of cases. So that is where wax prices currently sit. But the shine has come off the 2019 class in a big way. So, curious what you boys and girls are doing. Are you buying the dip on Ja? Are you panic selling? If you're buying the dip, do you want an Optic Contenders Red Auto? Kidding. Not kidding. I mean, kidding, but not kidding. How are you approaching this? Curious as always for your thoughts and comments down below. We will catch you boys and girls on the next one. Peace.